What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
What's up, Internet? Happy Friday. I'm Aries Van Dam, the Gen X genius, Salt and Pepper Savant, your shaman of logic. And this is my co-host, Ozzy. Tell him hi, buddy. Yummy. Back to me. So let me turn the music down a little more. Let's see. So, possible debate coming up. If y'all watched yesterday's video, you saw I did a takedown of a guy named Matt Van from the Matt Van Show. He finally started replying to my comments instead of erasing them. So at least we're in talks, but he still seems kind of afraid to debate. So I'm going to do a little more pressure on him and see if I can get him to come debate some of his stupid ideas. And I wanted to let y'all know, if y'all know of any of these like MAGA debaters, guys who just love Trump, want to pretend like that's the only way you can be based, let me know, because I'll go check them out, maybe do some mischief and see if I can get them to debate me too. I'm looking for guys, you know, roughly 500 to 3,000 subscribers, something around there. I'll have fun with that. I can't do anything lower because then it'll look like I'm punching down. I don't want to be picking on some new guy just starting out. Find me guys that have been around for a while and still think all this stupid shit. And just let me know in the comments or at Aries Van Dam on X or ariesvandam@yahoo.com. Those are the ways you can get in touch with me. The reason I feel like they're just trying to become part of the propaganda apparatus. And that's what I'm trying to take down, the propaganda. So just let me know if you see them. I am a propaganda destroyer. And our third video today is going to be an update on Tom Alexandrovich, you know, the chicken hawk who came to Nevada and tried to have sex with children, and Israel took him home. I have an update on him. It's not too much, but it's at least something to keep us going. And I wanted to address the interruptions in videos. This is how I have to do it. I have severe ADHD, and I'm trying not to take the medication as much. I just want to do this au naturel. So I can't keep these things in my head for very long before they're gone and I'm chasing a butterfly. So that's why I interrupt so much. That's why I have to do these type of videos. I can't sit there and hold an idea for like 20 minutes because it'll be 6 other ideas by the time I get to it. So that's the reason, just so y'all know. And I do put all the links to the original videos up. If my commentary is getting to be too much for you, just go check it out. It's in the descriptions. I'm not trying to steal views from them. Go watch it without my commentary if you don't like it. But I'm going to say what I'm going to say. So, yeah, we'll get to the rest of it later. Let's get to the video. Turn the music off. And there we go. This was a really good debate. Anna debates Jillian Michaels, and there is a rage quit. So let's get into it.
Guys, there is so much. We're going to do our best to break it down into 2 distinct segments. So the first one is we're going to run with some of the things from the official narrative that Kash Patel is putting out there, that the mainstream media is putting out there, revolving around this individual, Tyler Robinson. Now, obviously, there are a lot of irregularities around how this is proclaimed to happen. Everything from the time frame in which he would have exited the vicinity, to the strange text messages that were sent, to the fact that he disassembled the rifle and then reassembled it.
I can't tell if she's retarded or Australian. I often have this problem.
And then left it in the wilderness. There's a lot of really strange things, but the main thing that everyone's really been talking about over the period of the last several days has been these text messages. So I want to go ahead and dive into them, but more than that, I want to talk about this ChatGPT analysis that I've seen go mega viral everywhere. Now, obviously, guys, this isn't me putting 100% of my trust in ChatGPT, okay? It makes errors all the time, but, you know, it's kind of echoing here what the public sentiment has been, which is that these messages seem fake, and they seem made up, and it basically seems like Kash Patel and whoever else sat around and they're like, how do trans lovers talk to one another? Let's figure out how we can put together this narrative, because some of the language that was used was just really, really unusual. Do you have it up on the screen there?
It sounded like AI wrote it. That's what she's trying to say, I hope, because that's what it sounded like to me too.
Connor.
She may just be Australian.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Wonderful. So, let's just run through the text messages really, really quickly. Then we'll go through the ChatGPT analysis of some of the things that it's calling out. So essentially it starts, look under your keyboard. What? You're joking, right? I am still okay, my love. I'm stuck in arm for a while longer yet.
Who talks like that?
A while longer yet, right? Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hurt to keep this a secret.
Let me incriminate myself first.
Until the day that I died. I'm sorry to involve you. Okay, we're gonna get into the ChatGPT thing, but how is that the first thing that you say?
Also, he left a note under the keyboard.
Yeah.
Like, what are you even doing here?
Right, you'd hurt to keep it a secret until the day that you died, but you left a note under your keyboard?
Yeah, that's an inconsistency. That's strange.
Within the very first message, who are you leaving the note for, right? You weren't the one who did it. Tyler says, I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude. They interrogated someone in similar clothing. This is also a weird comment to make because we hear that Tyler Robinson, in fact...
How would he know that when he's jumping off of a building and running for the woods and then going to Dairy Queen and having a McFlurry? How does he know all that? Like, that's really strange. Like, that's really, really strange to me too. Like, I saw him, if that was him, running on the top of the building, jumping off the side, running to the woods. How does he know who they're arresting back over there? And like what people were wearing? He knows more than we knew because I went through that and it was like a struggle getting news when all that happened. You had to like search for it. How is he doing that and running to the woods at the same time and then having a McFlurry?
Changed clothing throughout. So which item of clothing are we referring to, and how were you able to see the other person that they interrogated to be able to confirm that? Right?
I feel like there are two possibilities, or three. Number one, these could be totally authentic. That I'm not giving too much weight to at this moment, because I do agree, like, this is a 22-year-old who talks like that.
Also,
Right.
he's supposed to be exceptionally intelligent. He's obviously not exceptional.
So she still believes that he wrote that. That's how Zionists think.
I would just say, like,
I thought he was
above
supposed to be
average.
very
Like,
intelligent.
like above average. I wouldn't.
So intelligent that he incriminated himself in a email or a text message. Oh yeah, that is not intelligent. So that's another sign he didn't do it. But I don't know for sure who did do it.
Say he's like brilliant.
He got a
I know, but it was. I'm not going to do this because I went. It's like a.
So he's not that smart.
I mean, there was a video that got released. He did get.
Duh, or maybe he didn't send it, Julian. Jillian, what? She's not even understanding what they're trying to say here, I don't think.
A scholarship to the school, right? So he is of above average intelligence.
I know,
Do you think you can gauge his intelligence off of an email someone else wrote? AI wrote for him? Like, what are you talking about?
But
to
it
get a
wasn't
full
like
ride for
it wasn't like
college.
Harvard.
Okay, so there are two other possibilities. So number one, possibly authentic. Number two, maybe this was staged by the two of them in order to clear the roommate
seen
from
Breaking Bad?
knowing about it ahead of time. I know what you were referring to when you meant Breaking Bad.
Anna,
Yes,
that is such
yes.
Or he didn't write it and the government's doing the usual government stuff.
Do you want to talk about the clip? Or?
Wait, really quick, let's just go through the last two strange things with these text
go ahead.
messages, and then
Because even if he was trying to cover for his roommate, how would he know they arrested someone different when he's running through the woods? Like, it's just silly.
we'll go into that. Then we'll go into the ChatGPT.
Well, we didn't get to the third possibility.
yeah.
Then go to the. Hold on.
The third possibility is that the feds are just told.
How does he get better news updates than me while he's in the woods trying to hide a rifle he couldn't have brought off of the roof? Because he didn't, you saw the video, he didn't have a rifle on him. So how is he hiding a rifle that's probably still up on the roof which is the story that they're going with, that that's what he was doing, how did he get better news updates than me? I was in my media center here trying to get it, and I couldn't get it.
Totally making this up.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ames, go.
So the main thing that people were calling out was like the language used here, where he says that I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as I got to my vehicle. This seems to be the thing that everybody's stuck up on, in addition to, I'm worried that what my old man would do if I didn't bring back grandpa's rifle. So the usage of the word vehicle, I mean, I don't know about you. Have you guys ever used the word vehicle in casual?
Ever? No.
In a text message to, the furry that you have sex with? Nope, never.
Conversation
Absolutely
when
not.
describing your car. See,
Like, let's hop in our vehicle to get home. Who says that? Have you ever
Right.
said that?
I just can't tell if the kid is super duper bizarro.
Like, he's just
a
like a little-
murderer. He's having sex with a trans person who thinks that they're an animal.
Right.
And he has an above average IQ.
Yes.
Not much weirder than what Jillian has sex with either.
Yes, he's a furry trans.
Oh, you didn't know
wait,
That's been confirmed. I didn't know.
Yes,
I
sir,
didn't
that
know
has
about
been
that.
absolutely confirmed.
Yeah.
And that's another
There's
part of
there's
this that
this
we're
world
going
of
to dive
furries,
into.
and it's a
Did you
whole.
see the bowl?
I mean, he's not a normal
Yes.
kid. Obviously, he's a murderer, but and his brain's got.
So
go
let's
on,
also
Amy.
clarify that as well. I mean, you aware, Anna, of what was inscribed in these bullets?
The bullets
as well?
I know that there was a lot of debate and some misinformation about the inscriptions, but
Yes.
tell me what.
So, hey, fascist catch.
Yes,
is one of them.
yes.
Notice Bulge's OWO, and the O's are capitalized. This is a furry community, basically. This is one of their groups.
Weren't some of those inscriptions references to video games that he plays?
One of them
That's
was
the up, down
Ciao
thing.
Bella, reference to an Italian anti-fascist song, Bella Ciao. And then the last one said, if you read this, you are gay.
But the thing is, Amy, there are up, down arrows. That's what you're talking
Oh,
about.
the reference to the video
Exactly.
game. Okay, got
That's that reference.
So, I mean, already there's the OWO refers to a furry trans group. Now, guys, we're going to break down a little bit more in that piece because it's interesting to see that a lot of people from that Discord server, people from that community had actually come out and posted about Charlie Kirk's assassination
Yes.
ahead of time. Some of them days earlier. One of them was actually, we can actually pull it up now, Connor. Let's go ahead and then we can circle back to the ChatGPT thing. So one of them was actually a SoundCloud song. Charlie Kirk dead at 31. I believe there was also a second song that was also posted up ahead of time.
Wait. This was released before he was
Before
assassinated?
he was assassinated, Anna. Let's go to the Amazon book. There was also an Amazon book that was released. It's in the production doc, Connor, The Shooting of Charlie Kirk.
The post date was earlier.
One day earlier.
Yeah.
And
then it disappeared.
One day prior.
Israel jumped the gun on its propaganda.
And then in addition to that, Connor, I do have a screenshot from a news article. It was something along the lines of, let me find it here. It'd be funny if someone like Charlie Kirk got shot on September 10th, LMAO. This was reported by the Washington Free Beacon. There was a assortment of different people who were identifying within the furry community, which, that is an arm of the transgender community, that seemed...
Which is an arm of the Israeli propaganda administration that shoved all that shit in our faces. I watched on Modern Family how they tried to tell us how it's okay to convert your children. That's on Modern Family. On NBC, CBS, whatever channel that's on, Modern Family was doing that. So yes, that is a full-on arm of Israel right there. So they are connected.
To have prior awareness that this was going to take place. And for that reason, despite the fact that there have been ample inconsistencies in trying to put the blame on Tyler Robinson, everything from the text messages, there is a video where someone did a simulation of how long it would have taken to disassemble the rifle and do everything that Tyler was claimed to have done. The time frame simply does not match up. There are some weird things with it. However, when you take that into consideration with the fact that people from this community seem to know about this ahead of time, it does seem like it is a part of some bigger conspiracy. I do not believe that he acted alone.
Starting to sound like we had a furry honeypot, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like we had a furry honeypot?
At the very least, for this reason, that is for sure one part of the official narrative that either they are hiding from us. I'm sure they have information that expands beyond what they've shared currently, because even the internet sleuths have been able to dredge up all of this and have it fact-checked and verified.
I think the heart of this problem is that I don't really have much faith in Kash Patel's leadership as head of the FBI, because he bungled it from the very beginning, starting with all sorts of misinformation that he spread about having the suspect in custody when there was no suspect in custody. I want to know more about that Zinn guy.
Who was also he was at the 9/11.
So this is
what are the chances of that
He
happening?
claimed that he was like planning to, bomb the Boston Marathon, like around the time that
he's
the
a
Boston
crisis actor.
There's something weird about that guy.
A crisis actor, and this is an issue that these people are funded by leftist organizations, PLS, who we've spoken about previously on this show. These were one of the funders of the.
You're going to be able to see how the three women who, like men, have men in their lives who can tell them logically what's not real, and the one who doesn't, she can't see it.
Sumner King's riot as well, and one of the organizers of that. There are people who are intentionally sending crisis actors into these scenarios, which then begs the question, how deep does this go? What don't we know then? Because the likelihood of George Zinn being there, a crisis actor from 9/11 in the exact same place where this took place, I believe they asked ChatGPT, do you know the number? I think it was like
Something,
one in
it's easier to win the lottery.
Basically, than the likelihood that he would have been in both of those locations.
I could not agree with
wrong
you more.
with that guy.
I want to follow up on something that Anna said. It's really, I do want our viewers to fully understand what we mean by the Breaking Bad scenario.
Please.
I'm not going to spoil the show.
You can spoil it. It's been forever. If you haven't watched it yet, that's your fault.
Yeah,
that's
true. Yeah,
Sorry.
It's like a decade.
But
It is one of the best shows of all time.
It's just
All transparent.
highly recommend watching it. Just such
So
classic
upsetting because
American
Bryan
TV.
Cranston would probably hate this show because he's so far left, but
really?
he's so talented.
But Bryan,
It's like,
I
it
mean,
kills
we love
me.
you.
So you know what? Spoiler
I do
alert.
want to say that so Walter White was a drug kingpin. He was a chemistry teacher who had cancer and initially just wanted to find a way to pay off his medical bills. But anyway, it spiraled. In the final episode, he berates his wife on the phone. He calls her all sorts of names, saying you're scum, basically. He excoriates her. And that was his attempt to exonerate his wife. Exactly, to make it seem, because he knew
Like
that
she
the
didn't
phone,
know about the drug trade that he was involved in. Yeah.
And so, because he knew that the phone conversation was being tapped, so he wanted to make it seem like he was the only one involved. And so that's what we mean by this text conversation. It seemed really orchestrated and curated, and you could tell that something was missing too. I think texts were deleted.
Yeah. Well, that was obvious because they actually put the ellipsis point there, or the ... or the semicolon, I believe. And so in what they released, that was to indicate that there was some context missing between each of them. So that much has been admitted. I mean, we know for a fact that these were doctored in what manner, but were they doctored or were they just contrived in the first place? That's what a lot of people are kind of starting to feel, especially when you consider that all of these other trans individuals seem to have known that this took place. So how are you going to then message your trans lover and be like, oh, my love, I'm sorry, I had hoped to keep this from you until old
We're
age.
not in the Victorian age. We're not a Jane Austen character. Why is he behaving like?
I mean, maybe he talks like that, but I mean, ChatGPT said structure and tone, the constant over-explaining, the roommate's
He sounds like
responses
Jane Eyre
as well.
Come on. Another thing is, I'm going to drop another TV reference. I love The Wire. Absolutely love it. I love Stringer Bell. I highly recommend everyone watch The Wire. And one of the most critical lessons from
Starting to feel like a book club.
that show is do not take notes on a motherfucking criminal conspiracy. It's something that people just know. I think Tyler is smart enough not to leave a paper trail, which leads me to believe that that was intentional.
I thought that was the strangest part about all of this. That usually when it comes to these types of crimes or these types of murders, there's no big smoking gun. And it's just too easy, right? The text message exchange is too easy. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, if you're going to murder someone, you're considered really, really smart. You have a perfect score on the ACT and all of that. How are you not smart enough to understand that you shouldn't have a digital trail of the crime that you're committing.
Kind of leaves something like Luigi Mangione.
Yeah.
You know, he pulls down his face to flirt with the girl, the mask, and it's like, bro, you wore the mask.
I mean,
but then
it's the weakness for men,
But
you
it
know?
just, I'm like,
There's a
what?
pretty lady.
Well, speaking of Luigi Mangione, though, right?
yeah,
'Cause he ended up being arrested in a McDonald's or something, right? Something
we should
like
probably
that.
have done a segment on this because his terrorism charges got thrown out. Did you see?
Oh yeah, I did see that.
It got pleaded. It got.
But here's the thing. Well, I'm sorry.
Just really
Go.
quick,
Yeah, go.
they also found a picture of Tyler Robinson inside, I believe it was a Dairy Queen.
Oh yeah.
That was taken
And
at
Candace
a
Owens was-
time that shows that it would have been inconsistent with the timeline that they're describing. So
The
there's
whole
a
thing is
host of
weird.
things.
The whole thing
Yeah.
is weird. And again, it goes back to people not really trusting our government institutions. I don't have a lot of faith in Kash Patel for a number of different reasons, including the way he has handled this investigation from the beginning. You know, he even said something really strange about how there was like some sort of confession note that Tyler Robinson had sent to his friends, but it got destroyed. And thanks to the FBI's aggressive interview posture, they have forensic evidence of it. Like, I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Right, yeah.
They can read ashes.
I don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about, and you keep saying different things. Clearly, even the federal government doesn't have much trust in Kash Patel because he went to Orrin, Utah to join that press conference before they had finally apprehended the suspect. And he didn't say a single word. You want to know why? Because the Trump administration basically told him to shut up and don't say anything. You're like ruining, you know, with your public statements, you're kind of ruining this
It's bad
investigation.
PR, yeah.
Yeah.
You're ruining our assassination. Stop it.
I mean, Anna, you're spot on. And Trump may not be saying that he's losing faith in Kash Patel, but you know what he did? He helicoptered somebody in. Dan Bongino's deputy, they just helicoptered in co-deputy Andrew Bailey. That they did not expect that to happen. That's what you do. You don't say a word, but you layer people in and you make the people obsolete.
There are rumors that he's going to replace Kash Patel. I don't know if there's much credibility to those rumors,
way.
but
I mean,
He hasn't replaced anyone yet.
I mean,
there
there's
have
also
been people
rumors
he
that
could
he's
have
gonna
replaced.
Pam
Bondi.
Pam Bondi.
Yeah, people are calling to have her replaced.
I agree.
No way.
How does she not know what
He's not replacing anyone who's pro-war.
our constitutional rights are? How do you
Right.
not know
To
that
call for
hate speech?
I mean,
Hate
she
speech is protected under our constitution.
Ironically, I don't think Trump cares about that. I think he actually loves the fact that she
Oh,
said
he
that.
does. He wants
But he's
to.
upset that she's not going after his enemies.
Oh yeah, we
vigorously
all
enough.
saw that tweet. Yeah,
Yeah, that should have been a
the
DM.
true social
Should have been a
post, it
DM.
Should have been a DM. Yes. All right, guys.
Okay.
Let's kind of pivot. There's one more massive conspiracy that we have to talk about. We wouldn't be reporting on the news if we didn't address it. Let me preface by saying I do not think that this is the case. Okay, so everyone go
There are
easy.
also two things.
Don't
You're
come
going
at
to
me.
cover two things, right? There's the Israel and the Ackman, right?
Yeah,
Two separate
yeah.
things.
I mean, these are two separate things, but people are kind of lumping them into
They're
one
conflating
thing,
them,
right?
yeah.
They are
Shouldn't be.
They are for sure conflating them, and they shouldn't be. We're going to get into all of that. So, Charlie Kirk has been pro-Israel. He has been taking money from Jewish donors. He has been doing his part to win the hearts of Generation Z on this issue, specifically as it relates to Israel and Palestine, and trying to encourage Christians to be more supportive of Jews, Judeo-Christian values, everything like this. Now, rumors have come out that he was in fact breaking with a lot.
These women act like they didn't see him changing his tune. He went on what's her name? The blonde one. He went on her show. He went on I think he was on like 2 or 3 shows. There are clips of him saying he's waning from Israel's support. They act like they don't see this.
A lot of those
Like it's a rumor.
ties, and we're starting to come into disagreement with many of these donors, and even with the president himself. I mean, we saw that shortly after the Epstein release, right? He came out and said, "Oh, I'm going to stop talking about this because, I want to trust the government." Then
Megyn Kelly. He went on Megyn Kelly's show and said that.
and he backtracked on that. We have it on good word from a few people that he, was against the regime change war that was going to be occurring in Iran, and he wanted to speak out
Tucker said that.
against these things. Yes,
He
and
was pretty public about it. Like Charlie, it's not like he was hiding the ball. I mean, he was against engaging in a regime change war in Iran. That was one of the areas I agreed with him on. But he was very much, supportive of Zionists, and that is a consistent theme you'll notice throughout his career.
Exactly.
It's just that in
All right, to be fair, this debate is before they get all the news updates that, hey, no, he wasn't. He was changing. And that might be a motive. So they're not really getting that yet. I guess they wasn't watching Megyn Kelly and all the shows where he was saying that his support for Israel is waning. He didn't say it in that way, but he did imply that, yeah, I'm not on board with this war. I'm not on board with the Epstein stuff. He had some issues with that country.
recent months, he started to become a little more critical of Netanyahu, critical of the ongoing, genocide in Gaza. And it's not like he turned his back on Israel.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And also the fact, we're going to dive into it in a minute, but that he was
Funny how you don't get the chance to if you're ever friends with Israel. You just don't get the chance to turn your back on them because they get you in the neck.
being called anti-Semitic for just providing slight pushback. So let's go ahead and bring up this tweet here. I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against him. Now, this was posted. Yeah, was that cropped off, Connor? I think I actually just put the link to the tweet in there. Maybe it was cropped off, but this was well in advance. This is back in August. Okay.
Yep.
This tweet was posted, and obviously nobody gave any credibility to it at the time. But then after his assassination, people started to go back and look at various different clips, one of which that has gotten a lot of attention was his conversation with Megyn Kelly. If you have that one, Connor, we can play that, please. Should be inside of the production document. It's a link, Connor. It's a link. And so basically, he jumps on with Megyn Kelly, and they are discussing the fact, if you go into videos,
So this,
Megyn Kelly, Israel.
just to give you guys a little more context into
The production team is a numbskull like me, I guess.
this conversation with Megyn Kelly, literally
No, not that one.
the day before he had this exchange with Megyn Kelly, he had gone to the Hampton,
Yes.
I believe, for a meeting in which Bill Ackman was involved. And we'll get to the details of that meeting in just a minute. But
Yes.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and play this, please.
We're just going to try to, we're
there
going
we
to
go.
just
They did
stamp
have
out
it.
everything type of practice, but it goes to the point where if, for example, if I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do. And that's really, really weird, isn't it, Megan? That's
it's
not
so
right.
wrong-headed. I'll tell you,
Does that sound like unwavering support for Israel? It doesn't to me.
this for me. So I got some blowback after saying Mossad possibilities with Epstein, a comment behind which I stand. I mean, I realize, and I've of course reported what Alan Dershowitz has said as his lawyer. He says, I think he would have told me. He didn't say he had any of those connections. I hear all that. That doesn't mean it's not true. I think all these things should be explored. It's one of the many things that should be explored around Epstein. But saying that, and also saying he might be a U.S. asset, et cetera, doesn't make you anti-Semitic.
We're just going to try to, we're going to just stamp out everything type
I
of.
think we just repeated. Thank you. So obviously he was starting to become more boisterous and vocal about some of the issues that he has. Again, in no way is he saying we're pro.
This girl just said she always had unwavering support for Israel, and she had that clip. She is retarded. Okay.
For Hamas,
Okay.
obviously he wants Israel to win the war.
What Anna
But
said, wait, hold on. What Anna
guys.
said was
In
so
that
we have.
clip, he is saying he's being criticized for giving an audience to people like Dave Smith. He is not saying that he is changing his mind and thinks the Jews are evil. Like,
no, he wasn't
I-
changing his mind.
I like.
So what about the guy who said he told him he thought they were going to kill him? What about her? What about them, Jillian?
But
I
his-
want to be real clear here.
No, but no
because I
one's
think
saying
this is
that.
dangerous, and I want to be fucking deadly accurate if we're gonna have this conversation. So that's what he was talking about. It's about the fact that Dave Smith, he gave him an audience.
Yeah.
At Turning Point, and he was being criticized for having people who didn't agree, like Tucker, on the stage.
On the stage.
He wasn't
But-
saying,
so the
I have changed
donors-
my mind here, and I'm being attacked. That's
But
not
so
what
what's
he was
playing
saying.
what's playing out behind the scenes is that Turning Point USA has some very wealthy pro-Zionist donors. Those donors had a problem with the inclusion of Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson at that Turning Point.
Hey, what does TPUSA look like now that Charlie's gone? Huh. Yeah, it's all Israel propaganda there now.
Event earlier this year.
Also,
Weird,
the
huh?
fact that he was talking about Epstein.
And the fact that he was talking about Epstein, yes. So basically, he's getting this pressure from donors, which led to that meeting in the Hamptons with Bill Ackman, because Bill Ackman apparently wasn't happy with it either. But you guys also have to understand that there is a trend now with young conservatives who are not supportive of Israel or not as supportive as previous generations. So you have young people who are part of Turning Point, who go to the Turning Point events, and they're constantly debating with Charlie Kirk about this issue. And Charlie Kirk wants to be inclusive. Like, the whole point of what he was doing was to engage in debate and dialogue. So he includes, Dave Smith. He includes Tucker Carlson, just different voices. And then he gets, according to them, hounded by the donors. So that
Hammered is the word that...
Hammered, that's
exactly.
right. Hammered was the word that was
And by the way,
used.
Connor, I sent you a video. If we could pull this up, this kind of addresses a little bit more about what you said. Just
Also,
one more thing
what
that I
Anna
wanted to
said
watch.
was so critical a couple lines ago. You said the timing. We cannot forget the timing because this is a day after. How do you think that summit went? Like, how do you think it...
He seemed annoyed by
he
it,
seemed
at the very
extremely
least.
annoyed.
Yeah.
All right, let's play this.
They have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policy. And Jewish donors, they have a lot of explaining to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like time for you guys to wake up and say no more, draw a line in the sand. I don't care if you hate me.
I can
Does that sound like unwavering support for Israel? I actually appreciate everything he said right there because it's the same shit I keep saying. So let's move on.
I can narrow it down. It's George Soros
Or I get a
who's
hold of my
primarily
Okay,
funding all of
but
this.
but what does that have to do with him being critical about what's going on in Gaza?
Because he's been
saying
increasingly
all
critical.
of you liberal institutions that are now being killed off by your own Frankenstein, like these things that you created, wake up and pay attention.
He was critical. So he was definitely critical of the pressure he was getting from his donors.
Fair, but there is absolutely no evidence whatsoever, quite to the contrary.
Well, apparently he was offered $150 million infusion into Turning Point USA, which would have then
There's no
doubled.
proof of that. In fact,
it
the
is-
opposite is true, and even PBD showed that on his show.
I mean,
that this came from a guy who writes for like
Max
radical.
Blumenthal.
We
We're
need-
talking about
we-
Max
but,
Blumenthal Gray Zone.
simultaneously,
I actually
We have
his
a
reporting
clip
to
of
be fairly.
PBD debunking this.
I actually found his reporting to be fairly credible. I mean,
play it.
It was validated
corroborated.
by Tucker Carlson.
Play the clip, please.
Look how
If
frustrated.
you look at this one, this is AF Post. They said, according to multiple reports, Israel Prime Minister offered Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, $150 million in cash to adopt an even more pro-Israel stance. Kirk refused the money. If you go a little bit lower, look at the amount of views this thing got. 7.2 million views, 160,000 likes.
Who's the
And then there's
AF
another
Post?
post, Rob, if you can pull up the other one that says, right below it, that says, the journalist behind the report accusing Bibi of offering $150 million is Max Blumenthal, a man who used to work for the Iran-backed newspaper Al Akbar in Beirut and
also
contributed
Jewish?
to Al Jazeera.
He is, yeah.
I mean,
Why is it
so-
every time we track down a lie, we end up finding people connected to Qatar or Iran?
There's no proof
behind
this
it?
ever happened.
So
None.
Wait, how does that?
So because that guy used to work for a company that was owned by people in Qatar, it can't be true. How is that debunking it? That's just saying, yeah, he has a motive, but that doesn't mean it's not true.
Debunk the
So, yeah,
fact
so he
that.
just read
Okay,
it. and
where's
then-
your proof that $150 million was offered from Bibi Netanyahu?
No, I'm referring.
Where is
Wait,
the proof?
please do not get any.
No, because I didn't want to cover this, and you guys insisted. And I
Because
told
that's what
you,
the
you cover
marketplace
this
is
shit,
talking
I'm going to
about.
rip you apart. Where is the
Ooh, angry ditch licker making threats. Let's go.
proof?
We're not
that
saying that
Bibi
it happened.
Netanyahu
We're really
offered
not
Charlie
saying that it happened.
$150 million.
Jillian,
okay, so we're not. Okay, so
what we're
conversely,
reporting on is
now
people
there
in
is
the
a-
marketplace, what they're saying. This is a discussion that's happening literally everywhere. We would be remiss if we didn't cover
It's
it
a
to
week
debunk
old,
it.
this conversation.
It's still-
over
I mean,
a week.
it's still
That
pretty prevalent.
is a week old.
It's still going on, Jillian. I
Okay, well, nevertheless, where is the proof
Nevertheless.
that actually
Jillian,
happened?
I just said, according to this guy's reporting, he was offered $150 million.
Okay,
that was
Wasn't it
where's
also
the proof of
corroborated by
that?
Candace?
It was
Look how mad the little Zionists get whenever they think Israel's being targeted.
corroborated by Candace, and not only that, by
Candace.
Nick.
And also
Okay,
that
okay,
case
because that's
that-
listen. I like Candace. She has people from his own team have said he has not seen her in years.
And yet last year,
Yet she was on tour with them a couple of months before that, and she has receipts.
they were on tour together. Last year they were on tour together.
Wait,
So
wait,
that
wait,
debunked that
Wait, if you
recently.
want
That
to talk about
completely
people on
debunked
his
that.
team,
Last time they've been on camera together was
Andrew, his
2023.
press
No, it was last
Wait,
year.
hold on,
They have a
Andrew,
tour
that
posted
guy
together.
was like-
Okay,
So guys,
everybody
let's
on
calm
his
down.
team
Let's just calm down
has
for a second.
subsequently said this is not true.
No, they
It's
never-
Castor,
they actually-
Colvin,
they
Eric
ne-
Balling, all of them are like, yeah.
Okay, Eric Bowling thought that he had 2 daughters. Okay, so I'm not gonna.
Okay, Andrew Colvin. The narrative is not true.
Andrew said,
Charlie has a cordial relationship with Ackman. There's no black woman,
Also,
no
he
intervention.
said-
Nothing
that's
like
that
what
same-
Candace.
Look, if you yell over them, they can't hear them. They can't hear the truth if you yell loud enough.
Andrew
suggesting.
said that same Andrew said that
Okay.
Candace and Charlie remained friends. I just want to
He's
make sure.
saying this is not true.
But they were literally touring together last year.
Nothing like what Candace is suggesting. What does it have to do with
Wait,
their
what is
friendship?
Oh, did BB say something wasn't true? It can't be true then. Yeah, that dude never lies.
that have to do with you? Just
What
said
does that have to do with their friendship? He's
Julie,
saying
you're
what
so-
Candace
I
is
can't
suggesting.
engage with you if you don't
He's
calm
saying
down.
what Candace is suggesting is not true.
He's talking about her suggesting that Israel killed him. We're talking
Right,
about
yes.
100. Please do not conflate the two. Because
Okay,
they're completely
well,
distinct.
unilaterally across the board now, we've got multiple accusations that all pile up to the same exact.
No, I think it's the furries. It's the furries. I think it's the furries. But a lot of people.
I don't know, and I don't look.
There's
for those who are
zero
saying,
evidence to suggest
The furry army did it.
none.
But you're saying,
guys, can we just
Even
stop for a
Dave
second?
Smith
This is ridiculous.
is like, this is absurd.
Like, this whole thing is ridiculous. There are two things being conflated right now. There are conspiracy theorists who think Israel killed Charlie Kirk. They have yet to provide a shred of evidence proving that. Done. End
We're
of
not
story.
talking about that
I am
today.
talking about something
You
entirely
were talking
different.
about
no,
that.
we're not. Hold on.
Oh, you
Let
were
me
talking
finish
about
my
that.
fucking thought. Okay? The real issue here is that before most people even knew that Charlie Kirk was dead, you have Netanyahu giving multiple interviews talking about how, using the fucking moment for his own political purposes, like the fucking
That's
fool that he
totally
is. Let me finish my point.
than him killing Charlie Kirk.
Did I not
never
just
said that.
I literally
Okay, so now we're just gonna make
let
a
me finish
sidebar
my
to-
point, Jillian, because none of us can finish the damn point without someone else jumping down
Someone being Jillian, yelling at the top of her lungs so that no one hears the fucking truth.
your throat. I don't think that Israel killed him because there's no evidence of that. But I had a problem with Netanyahu exploiting an assassination in this country for his own political means and purposes and lying about the nature of his relationship with Charlie Kirk. Because Charlie Kirk didn't like Netanyahu, just like any warm-blooded American shouldn't. Netanyahu is a bad guy. And he wanted to make it seem like, no, we were all great. We were good. We had a great relationship. Little did we know behind the scenes,
I don't
there
know
was a
how
lot
every
of pressure
show
toward
ends up
Netanyahu.
being about how do we bash Israel. This is not for me. I'm not interested in this.
Okay,
I love
I
you
know.
guys.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Let's be good.
I
Let's be
have
good about
zero
precious
interest
Israel. Let the
in
country
fucking
committing a
every
genocide.
show
Yeah.
doing this. I
Okay.
have zero. I think you guys agree with me. I don't disagree with you about like every show doing this. I'm sorry.
Cool. So can we continue the
Yeah,
conversation?
let's not.
I'm gonna take my ball and go home.
Let's.
Okay.
Talk about my favorite country like that.
All right.
All right.
Wow. Okay, guys. So, again, to clarify, I don't think Israel did it. And you want to know what's crazy is the
Yeah, you're
person
a
who is
retard,
labeled
though.
the #1 anti-Semite out there, who has been anti-Semitic for the last 10 years, Nicholas Fuentes, has come out and said there is no evidence that suggests that Israel did it. And that's actually what I was literally just about to show.
No one on the
So-
show is.
Hey, did he not get arrested after being on a bullhorn telling people to go into the Capitol on January 6th?
saying that.
We can play that, please, really, guys. Thank you.
They say that
Jesus
Charlie
Christ,
Kirk
man.
was offered an infusion of $150
I've never met a group of people more
million
sensitive than those who defend Israel at any and all costs. I'm sorry, it is not some angelic country. It's a foreign country, and we have the right to be as critical of a foreign country as we want. We have the right to be as critical of our own country as we want. And we are fucking Americans,
And
okay?
you know what? We get in less trouble for being critical of America than if we were to be critical of
100%.
Israel.
And I'm sorry, it is ghoulish. It is ghoulish to take advantage of a political assassination in a foreign country, as Netanyahu did, to spread your disgusting political message that wasn't even right, that wasn't even accurate.
Yeah, didn't he imply that it was to do with Islam?
This is why you shouldn't just run away from debates like she did.
Islamic-
See how there's no one to yell over all the logic now?
that killed
Which
Charlie
at that
Kirk.
point, there was no information that had come out. There wasn't anything that
He
would have
blamed it on the
pointed them.
Muslims, and this, by the way,
Has nothing
had
to do with
nothing
Muslims.
to do with Muslims.
That's my point. That's not a conspiracy theory. This is actually what he did. It's well
Also,
documented.
he said he had a letter from Charlie, which also turned out to be he misdescribed it, and so Netanyahu is just not a. I'm just like shocked. Yeah, no one here was saying that Israel.
I do not think Israel killed him.
We have to be able to
I don't.
intellectually explore
If you-
ideas and concepts, and if we can't, that's when things start to get a little bit
If
weird.
you are not,
a little bit
if you have an
suspicious.
emotional breakdown every time someone criticizes a foreign country, I really think you should do some self-examination.
Yeah, look, I don't
That's what Jillian went to go do. She's doing some self-examination right now.
want to trash Jillian. You know, she
I
had an
do.
emotional reaction to that. It's her right. It is what it is. But I
When you're a woman.
do think that it's totally legitimate to talk about something tragic happening in our country and that being exploited
Weaponized.
and weaponized by a foreign leader.
Yeah,
that's not a conspiracy theory. That actually happened.
And whether Israel, there's been a lot of theories about Israel throughout the years, and whether or not they were the ones to actually contrive certain things, that's up for debate. But what we know is Israel is really good at never wasting a crisis.
That's right.
It's like they have a room full of people on standby that when something like
How
this
can we
happens,
use it?
how can we spin this in such a way?
Almost like they helped create those crises too, right?
And nobody can deny that. Well, everybody was looking the other way during this incident, consumed with this news cycles. There were various different legislations that were attempting
Well,
to be
the
pushed.
Epstein files, they
That were
decided
blocked,
they voted
yes.
not to release that. Also, Lauren Boebert introduced a bill saying that whoever criticizes Israel, their passport should
could be
yanked.
revoked, so you could not even travel internationally.
So
and that
all
was for
this
citizens,
happened.
right? Was that for citizens or for visa
Well, if
holders?
you have a passport.
Yeah, anyone who
you're-
has a passport.
yeah.
That includes American citizens.
Right.
Yeah,
That
they-
is fundamentally wrong.
I brought this up to someone recently, and they said, "Oh no, that's just for visa holders."
No, if you
Well,
have a U.S. passport, you're by definition American citizen.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And look, they pulled back on that, luckily, because there was so much
The fact
backlash.
that they even thought it was okay to introduce
even
it. Exactly.
introduce
That
it,
is so
exactly.
anathema to everything we hold dear as a country.
You can't go to Brown University still if you criticize Israel. Does that sound cool? That's a university in America where you can't go there if you criticize the foreign country. Just one. Any other country you can criticize. Not that one.
I think there's something wrong right now in American culture where there's literally just one country and one government that is just above any and all criticism
And
or
Charlie said
backlash.
that. You know?
That is right. Charlie
what
did
he's
say
been
that. And he fostered the type of environment where debates were allowed. And the fact that you can't have a conversation
Yeah,
about
and
this is crazy.
I want to mention that at the Hampton Summit, he asked the people there, he invited a group of influencers, to talk about, it wasn't even just about Israel, it was all sorts of
Various
things, like
different
the
topics.
threat of Marxism and Zoran Mamdani. It was not just about Israel, let me be clear. But he asked a group assembled there, he's like, what do you think would happen if I demanded Bibi Netanyahu's resignation? And some of the reactions were like, you would be called anti-Semitic. And he said, that's problematic because me criticizing a leader is not anti-Semitic. In fact, it's like my love for Israel. This guy is deeply committed to Israel as a
He
Christian.
believes in the biblical prophecy of
Exactly.
the Old Testament. He's more of a Semitic, like.
It doesn't mean that you applaud every decision made by this government, this secular government.
So let me ask something. So obviously Charlie Kirk was deeply religious and very conservative. Let's say we lived in an alternate universe where the Israeli government is a leftist government, where they believe in Marxism. Is Charlie Kirk not allowed to criticize that?
Right.
I mean, like, really think about it for a second,
Yeah.
because to me, a foreign government is not representative of an entire people.
Right.
Right? I don't look at Israel and think Israel is Jews. No, I don't think that at all. Not for a
Right.
second. The current Israeli government is not representative of all Jews. They're just not.
Right.
I think it's more like representative of reptilians, because I think that's who's running the government.
And so the way a government operates should be criticized if I see it fit, if you see it fit. I mean, it's up for debate. It's up for discussion. But the fact that it's like, oh, no, you can't touch it. That's wrong. We're going to call you anti-Semitic. We're going to smear you. We're going to destroy your family, which, by the way, I've had my own taste of that. That's why I am inclined to believe that Charlie Kirk was under the kind of pressure that he was under. That doesn't mean Israel assassinated him.
Correct.
But it does mean that totally separate story, that he was under a lot of pressure because young conservatives are not in line with older conservatives as it pertains to support for Israel.
Absolutely.
At the same time, the Zionist donors for Turning Point USA didn't like the fact that young conservatives were moving away from Israel. That is an interesting story involving tension, involving the influence of money into these organizations. That's all we're talking about.
And when you misleadingly conflate two completely different issues, though, that's a red herring. That's a way to avoid actual discussions and accountability. You have to be able to have this discussion. Like when we trash Ukraine, and I've trashed Zelensky, no one is saying I'm anti-Ukrainian. No one is accusing me of being a bigot. I can't remember the last time someone smeared me as a racist for criticizing Zelensky and saying that there's no lack of accountability for the billions that we've been spending there. We should be able to have these conversations because it's taxpayer-funded operations. We are sending so many weapons there. We are taking a beating on the international stage for this country.
Absolutely.
So let's
Even the NPCs are waking up. I didn't even think that was possible.
talk about it. Let's
No,
see
it is our right.
Hey,
I'm not asking permission. It is our right as Americans to talk about anything we see fit. I'm not going to let a foreign country or American supporters of a foreign country to censor me or censor anyone.
And you know what? When they do that, what does it do? It amplifies the conspiracy.
It does,
because
100%.
people are like, oh, we're not allowed to flesh out these ideas in the free marketplace. We're not allowed to let the free marketplace determine that this is a ridiculous idea, such as many people did.
Right.
There's a lot of people who are anti-Semitic out there who wanted to blame Israel. And then even people like Nick Fuentes, where they're saying, no, show me a single shred of evidence. Leave it to the free market. We're actually kind of smart out there. We can figure out which ideas hold value and which ideas don't. We don't need daddy government or any other influences, for that matter, telling us what we can and cannot speak about.
Amen. That was so well said.
All right. That was pretty interesting. I enjoyed that. Now let's jump to Professor Marandi versus Shelagh Fogarty. She's like really big in England. She's going to help my boner subside. You'll see. You'll see. Let me get to the right timestamp, though.
Look, when your government was supporting...
I'm just trying to get a sense from, because you're close to the Iranian regime, I want to get a sense of whether...
What does that mean exactly? I'm close to the Iranian regime. Is that how you...
No.
That woman gets paid to sit in front of a camera looking like that.
Introduce academics from your own country?
No. In the way that I know...
Look, guys, real quick before we get into this, this clip is about 2 months old, but I want you to know this.
He doesn't do a lot of commentary, and he puts it all at the end, so that's why I went with this guy. I couldn't find a lot of videos of it, and I'm going to have to change the speed just to make sure.
The situation being discussed here is still very much ongoing, so everything you're about to hear is still relevant. Now, here's the thing. We've got Mohammed Marandi, an Iranian academic, sitting across from a Western journalist, and it gets heated fast. So I'm going to play the full clip first, and then I'll share my thoughts at the end. But before we get into that, hit that like button and the subscribe button and let us know in the comments section where you're watching from. Your city, state, or country. So let's get into it.
The latest round of protests, they seem to be pretty intense and pretty persistent, up to and including this latest tweet or post from the US president. What do you say is going on there? What do you say those protests are about?
Well, there are two issues here. One is that because of the U.S. sanctions and the European sanctions, basically because of Iran's policy against Israel,
What is Iran's policy against Israel?
Yes, because
what is it?
The whole sanction, Iran's position?
Against Israel, yeah.
Yeah, Iran says that Israel is an apartheid state. It is not morally legitimate. and the Palestinians have the right to return, just like apartheid South Africa.
That it shouldn't
and
exist.
back then,
That it shouldn't exist. It's not. Is that
no,
what you mean?
as an apartheid entity, no.
But
No, apartheid should not exist anyway. Look,
so
when your government was
I'm just trying to get a sense from, because you're close to the Iranian regime. I want to get a sense of whether.
What does that mean exactly? I'm close to the Iranian regime. Is that how you introduce academics from your own country?
No. In the way that
That's how she's trying to frame it, so she can discount everything he says after that.
I know that I'm close in terms of having easy access to and contact with and conversations with members of the cabinet. That's all I meant. I didn't mean.
Would you call them the regime?
Well,
Would you say it like the?
Do you want to go into that?
Yeah, sure.
Well,
what's the question?
Well, have there been regular democratic elections that?
No, you were talking about Israel.
Oh, okay. We'll go back.
Iran's position on Israel.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a sense of whether
Iran's position on Israel is identical to its position on apartheid South Africa. When your government was supporting the supremacist regime in South Africa, the Iranians were supporting the ANC and Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
The same logic applies to Palestine.
Right. So it's not the existence of Israel; it's the nature of this Israeli state. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. The state could be called. Yeah, the state could be called Palestine. It could be called Israel. It could be called Walt Disney. But as an apartheid state for Iran, this is not acceptable.
And isn't Iran something of an apartheid state, particularly if you're a woman?
Have you ever been to Iran?
No, but there's lots of countries I haven't been to that I know about, hear about, read about.
It's not an apartheid state. No, it's not an apartheid.
Women are dragged off the street for not wearing the veil?
No, that's not true at all.
It is true.
Well,
and she's never been there, right?
You can say it's true, but that doesn't make it a fact.
I think most people listening know that it is true.
You know, I live in Iran. Many journalists come to Iran. Journalists that you can invite, Jewish journalist Max Blumenthal from the Gray Zone, invite him on your show. And he's been to Iran just recently for a couple of weeks. He went to different cities on his own with his wife, who's also a journalist. Ask him if any women have been dragged off the streets anywhere that he's been to.
So you're denying that the Iranian government forces women to wear the veil, the hijab?
Well, the veil is one thing.
I know it is. That's why I corrected myself. And those that don't want to.
You mean the headscarf?
The headscarf.
The headscarf.
And those that don't want to cover their hair. It's trouble for them, isn't it?
No, nothing happens to them. No, nothing happens to them. And some of my students on campus, in classrooms on campus, they don't wear headscarves. So I think your understanding.
But is your I'm just trying to get a sense. Is your assertion that in Iran, in the last decade, and even more recently than that, not a single woman, particularly a protesting young woman, has been detained and in one case died in custody with wounds from beating because she had her hair short? You don't believe
You're
that
talking
happened?
No. Mahsa Amini had no wounds. There is no footage. There is footage of her, and in the footage there is nothing that shows that she was beaten. She had a precondition. Yes, she was taken in, but she was not beaten for her dress. There is a law in Iran about a dress code, because whether you like it or not, they believe that the way in which the West promotes women is sexualization, commodification, objectification. So they'll have their own cultural boundaries, whether you agree with it or not.
Well, you've said to
whether
me,
you agree with it or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't. That's one thing. But women being dragged off the streets in Tehran, I've never seen that happen myself.
But
this is like when they keep saying gays in Iran are executed. I've never seen a gay person in Iran executed.
But
this is
that doesn't mean it's never happened. Does it?
No.
Just because you haven't seen a woman being dragged off the streets doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
No, I'm not saying
doesn't mean it is. It has happened either. Do you have any evidence?
It's never happened.
And you are wrong to say, if I can just say, you are wrong to say that Mahsa Amini had no injuries. She had physical injuries, including a skull fracture and brain edema.
No, she didn't. No.
Well, an independent medical analysis and a UN fact-finding mission determined that she did.
There was no UN fact-finding mission in Iran. Where are you getting this information? What was the name of the UN fact-finding mission team? The name of the person who did this?
I don't have that in front of me, but I can find it for you. But
it was on the TikTok she was watching, though.
About any statement that I make.
No, but the thing is that
I could do it back to you.
No, because you can't. Because the point is that you have to give me names. If I say in the UK, people are being arrested for saying no to genocide, for having a billboard in their hands, no to genocide, they're being arrested for that. I have to show footage of it happening. And I have to show the law saying that this is how it's done. And when you tell me that if you tell me, has a woman ever been dragged away? I'll say yes. If you say that have people been beaten on the streets by the police, I'd say yes. In protests and riots, it happens. Well, if you tell me innocent people have died in Iran in prisons, I'd say probably yes.
Well, it's interesting.
But when you tell, and I would say the same about your country as well.
They act like we don't have dress codes here. Do we let women run around with their tops off? No. So we have dress codes too. So they can have whatever dress code they want in their country. They're a sovereign country just like we are. If we decide we don't want women showing their tits, unfortunately, we don't get to see them.
And I would say the same about your country. But in your country and in the West, the caricature of Iran is very far from reality. And the reason is because of your country's hatred for Iran, which has been ongoing for 45 years. If Iran was so deeply despised, then it should have collapsed by now, so long ago.
But when you say,
and then your government and your media is concerned about human rights in Iran, where you support Israel, not you, I mean your government, you support Israel, you help Israel in Gaza, you have the flights that go overhead.
We support the rights of Iranians as well. We support the rights of Iranians.
No, you don't. You actually are a country that tries to harm Iranians because you impose sanctions on ordinary Iranians. The maximum pressure sanctions. Do you think the maximum pressure sanctions a government minister?
You know the
they're
reasons.
intended to make ordinary people suffer.
You might not like it, but you know the reasons for that. I mean, can I just come back to you on one thing?
Let's hear them. Let's hear them. Why are you running? Don't pivot. We want to hear. That's what we're talking about.
What are the reasons? Because since I don't like it, you should tell me. What are the reasons for the sanctions?
The reasons include the proxy terrorist activity that's been, I would argue, I'm sure you are going to disagree with me, but the proxy terrorist activity that Iran has been involved in for decades.
What are these terrorists? Who are these terrorists?
Hamas, others arming Syria.
So Hezbollah you consider as a terrorist organization, right?
In part.
No. In part?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Is it a terrorist organization?
In part.
Is it a terrorist
in the same way that the Republican movement in Northern Ireland was in part
in the same way that your government is a terrorist organization in part. Your government is a terrorist organization.
Is that your view?
That doesn't make sense. Either you're a terrorist or you're not.
No, organizations can be partly terroristic and partly political. You know that.
Just for your information, Hezbollah was created out of the Israeli invasion of Lebanon. It was a creation of the occupation. Just like the ANC was a terrorist organization and Nelson Mandela was a terrorist according to your government standards at the time, Hezbollah was created when the Israelis invaded Lebanon.
But you do know, surely, as an academic, that organizations can be terroristic and political. And
like Nelson Mandela? Really? Okay.
Have wings, which are both. And social as well. The Republican movement in Ireland certainly did.
So you're saying that the political wing of Hezbollah is not a terrorist organization?
It has connections to a terrorist organization, yeah, but it operates on different levels.
So it's not a terrorist organization?
In part, it is.
Look, I know you don't want to answer the question.
Does that go against the law of logic here? The first one, identity? You either are or you're not. You can't be both.
From our perspective, Hezbollah is a national liberation organization that has recovered the South Lebanon and saved Lebanon from Israeli occupation and colonization.
Okay.
And Hezbollah's sin is that it supports the Palestinian people. Hezbollah has been resisting the Israeli regime and it opposes the regime and the ethnic cleansing and the genocide. Your government, your media supports the genocide. You like Israel, you like what they do, and you consider them to be in your camp. Obviously, we have huge differences because Hezbollah has not carried out mass slaughter, and Israel has. And your government supports despots, countries that have zero elections, but they're not regimes.
But Hezbollah did carry out mass firing of missiles into Israel as well, just to report a fact back at you.
Israel invaded Lebanon multiple.
Like you're supposed to just take it when they drop bombs on you. You don't bomb back? Like, is that a point she's trying to make? That people drop bombs and blow up your children and you just say, that's them. We can't get away with anything back. What?
Times it took Beirut, and Israel bombs intentionally apartment blocks in Lebanon. Just today, it destroyed houses in southern Lebanon. Almost every day it carries out assassinations.
I'm just making the point that the fire isn't just in one direction.
You're proving a point. You're proving a point that the Israeli regime, which carries out murder and slaughter, is normal, and it is not a terrorist organization. But Hezbollah, when it responds with far less fire capability and without killing all these civilians as the Israelis do, they are the terrorists.
Okay.
Or partially terrorist.
And
that standard of yours, that standard of yours, and it's not just you, it's your country, it's your government, it's the entire Western political establishment. Is the problem. It is the problem in our region.
And a problem
because you are choosing despots and you are choosing regimes that carry out ethnic cleansing as your allies because they serve your interests.
If I can speak, you say that is the problem. Iran has agency. It's making some of its own choices. Some of its people are currently protesting very vocally about the conditions they find themselves in, which I know some of which is related to sanctions. The women 2 years ago, many women were protesting about the conditions they find themselves in. However you characterize it, I will characterize it differently if I may, and I will equally characterize it.
I didn't characterize it. I didn't say anything. You asked me a specific question about an individual. Did women protest 4 years ago or 3.5 years ago?
They did.
Yes, many did.
Yeah.
Did students protest? Yes, many did. Did people protest 3-4 days ago on the streets in Tehran?
We had an entire summer of love where we had protests. You act like that's illegal or something. Protests are good. They kind of help you to see the way the public feels, even when they're retarded people protest.
Yes, people did. But the rioters, they're a different group of people.
What should the Iranian government's response to, or what will, in your view, the Iranian government's response to the protests and what they're calling for and complaining about, what will it be? What's it likely to be in your view?
Roxana, on the first day of protests, they were peaceful. Was anyone arrested? Did the police attack anyone on day one? That's when the protests were bigger, actually, in Tehran. Right? Now we have small riots here and there where they attack the police, they shoot at the police, they throw Molotov cocktails, and so the police responds. But on day one, there was no violence. And the government, because the government recognized their protests as legitimate.
So for you, the Donald Trump
the question for me is the question for me is that in your country, if there are protests in Iran, you don't see this as a normal process in civil society. You see it as the regime, as you like to call it,
protest
the regime on the verge.
Protest is normal. I haven't said it's not normal at all.
But in your country, if there are protests and we see police officers
we question all the time. We question all the time.
And they hammer, but that's a part of the process. But here in Iran is
hang on, I'm going to insist.
All right, look. So we just watched that, and I want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, that was
here.
the end of this one.
And again,
that was a short one, but yeah, he destroyed her in that one. He's really good. I did one of them of him, Pierce Morgan. Go check that one out if you're interested. Oh, he destroyed Pierce. Oh, and our last video, let me get to the timestamp. This one's we're probably not gonna do the whole one on this one, but it is an update on what was going on with Tom Alexandrovich, the guy from Israel who came to America to have sex with children, and he got to go back to Israel for it.
Seeking sex with minors.
There we go. Let's start.
Tonight on The Whistleblowers, an international scandal that's raising serious questions about justice, diplomacy, and accountability. A senior Israeli official arrested in Las Vegas in an FBI sting operation targeting child predators seeking sex with minors, and he was allowed to board a plane and return to Israel before ever facing a U.S. judge. Why was he allowed to leave? Why didn't prosecutors take his passport? And what happens now that he's on the other side of one of the world's most complex and controversial extradition systems? It's time to break it down. I'm John Curiel.
Which is the home of a whole industry of people who go there just to escape extradition to the countries that want them for kid touching. That's what they're known for. It's a cottage industry there. One of their only imports, really.
And
exports, I guess.
The Whistleblowers. Tonight, I want to take our show to Las Vegas, Nevada, where an international controversy has erupted. On August 6th, Tom Alexandrovich, a senior Israeli official, was arrested in an undercover operation targeting online predators. Court documents show that Alexandrovich allegedly chatted with what he believed to be a 15-year-old girl on the messaging platforms Pure and WhatsApp, arranging a meeting for sexual acts. Police body cam video shows officers confronting and arresting Alexandrovich at a Henderson, Nevada park after he arrived in a rental car to meet the girl. But just one day later, he posted the standard $10,000 bail and flew home to Israel. He never appeared before a judge in person, and when his attorney attempted to excuse his absence, the judge shut that down immediately. But the damage was already done. Alexandrovich was already gone, and prosecutors never required him to surrender his passport. This case is now fueling scrutiny of
which is required for that type of arrest in every case.
Israel's extradition laws, laws that have historically enabled accused criminals, including alleged pedophiles, to flee U.S. jurisdiction and to fight extradition for years. And this case is even more complicated because Tom Alexandrovich isn't just any Israeli citizen. He's a high-ranking cybersecurity official described as a key architect of Israel's cyber iron dome. And what happens? He gets arrested, he admits he has a flight to catch, he posts bail, and he's allowed to just walk out of the country. I've seen people held on higher bail amounts for unpaid parking fines. This never should have happened. But if you're a fan of history, you could have predicted it. In fact, the United States has played extradition games for years, and in that time scapegoating not only murderers, but child predators too. In 1999, public pressure had to practically twist arms during the Clinton administration just to get one teenage murderer tried in Israel after he killed another teenager in Maryland. Back even further, Israel also failed to extradite a man in 2010 who fled the country in the mid-1980s after he was accused of sodomizing multiple young boys in Brooklyn, New York.
That's our greatest ally. I want y'all to remember that every time you hear some neocon dickhead say, that's our greatest ally. That's what you need to think of. That's what they do.
And now we find ourselves here today, when a sitting Israeli cybersecurity official is charged with attempting to solicit a minor for sex, and he's then caught in an FBI sting operation, and we let him leave the country without confiscating his passport, without any restrictions. What we're really doing is this. We are surrendering the case before it even begins. If this man were a plumber from Ohio, say, he'd be in jail right now awaiting trial. But because he's a foreign official with powerful connections, with a powerful government behind him, he can just get on a plane and disappear behind a legal wall that historically protects people just like him. And the truth is, unless the United States applies massive diplomatic pressure that, frankly, I don't see coming, it's entirely possible that we will never see this man again inside a U.S. courtroom. Joining me now to discuss is Phil Giraldi. He's the Executive Director of the Council for the National Interest Foundation. Phil, thanks so much for joining us. It's good to see you again.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Well, Phil, walk us through what the FBI operation uncovered and how this official was able to leave the U.S. so quickly.
Well, this is characteristic of how the United States government in general deals with Israeli criminals.
Bends over for Israel.
That wind up in the U.S. It's always kind of a soft glove treatment. These people are very, very rarely actually sent to trial, prosecuted, that sort of thing, and some arrangement is made basically to let them somehow go home. And that's what we saw in this case. But what really complicates this case is the fact that the federal appointed Attorney General for Nevada is an Israeli, and she was appointed by Donald Trump. And she was the basically pulled the strings to give him his passport back and to basically remove any surveillance on him if there was any surveillance.
I'm hearing malfeasance in office from all this. That sounds like a clear case of malfeasance in office.
And they allowed him to get on the plane, and he had even told them which plane he was going on. They allowed him to get on the plane and fly back to Israel, where, as experience has told us, he will never, ever be sent back to the United States for trial. This is the characteristic of how Israeli cases are handled in the United States.
Phil, the body cam footage shows the arrest. The chats are very explicit, they're graphic. The judge later reprimands the defense for trying to waive appearances. But the key moment is that he's allowed to board this flight home. So how does something like that happen in a case involving an alleged sexual predator? I would have assumed that even if the United States has an unwritten deal, let's say, with Israel, that when it comes to child sex crimes, things would be different. Why was it not different?
Well, this case was in a different category, I would suggest, because it was claimed that this gentleman was in Nevada, in Las Vegas, to meet with FBI counterparts. So this put it kind of an official cast on what was going on there. And as I say, the attorney that pulled the strings, one Sigal Chata, an Israeli, an appointee by President Trump, was the one who kind of made the arrangements with the lower people in the hierarchy there to have this occur the way it did. And there's also the kind of
So your elected officials are appointing people who will help the suspects get home and not help the victims get their justice. Just wanted everyone to see that Trump stands by this, and that's why you're not going to see Tom Alexandrovich back in America until we get Massey or somebody who's not bought in the office.
Security aspect to this thing too, which is the fact that this guy was a close advisor of Prime Minister Netanyahu, and he was a cryptology specialist. He was a cryptographer. And this may cover the reason why he would be meeting U.S. officials, if indeed that's true. But the fact is that there was presumably some impulse to be covering this up because of the security nature, the classified nature, which is all BS, as I would call it. This is basically done because it was done as a favor to the Israelis, and it's a favor that's repeated every time something like this takes place.
Let me ask you about that. Time was when Israel just did not extradite anybody. And now they say they do. Extradition cases can take years, though. So why does it take that long?
Why would we even have to worry about what their stupid fucking laws are? We give them more money than they give us, like by a lot. They're totally dependent on us to even exist. If we want that guy and we had somebody with balls in the presidency, he'd say, give me that guy back or you don't get no money. We're going to get out of this war we're fighting to help you. We do that. I think we get that guy back pretty quick. But you don't have anybody with any testicles in any elected offices right now. Everyone is bought. Everyone.
Long to extradite someone who's facing serious crimes. And what does that mean?
Except Boebert. I like her too.
In this case, will Alexandrovich never return to face charges in the U.S.?
I'm convinced he never will, or otherwise it would have happened already. And the logic behind this is the typical kind of tribal logic, which is essentially that, in the Second World War, there was a Holocaust and many Jews were killed, which is true. And we do not trust any.
I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to hear about World War II. We're talking about a guy right now trying to have sex with children right now. World War II is irrelevant. It does not matter what happened to your great-grandfather. You're trying to fuck a child.
Other country to be in a position to punish Jewish Israelis. This does not apply to Palestinians who are Israeli citizens. It's Jewish Israelis because of the fear that this will be a case where someone will be punished for being Jewish. So this is the kind of card they play to do this kind of thing. And of course, the real reason behind it is just because
Do you see why I don't care when they call me an anti-Semite? Because if I'm criticizing shit and I know I'm on board with it and I'm not criticizing people for being Jewish, I know it's bullshit. And you're just trying to change the momentum of the argument. That's all you're trying to do. Anyone can look at anything and see that it's either anti-Semitic or not, which I don't even think that term really exists. It's either racist or not. They just had to have a special one because they have to have everything special just for them, a rule just for Israel. I'm tired of it.
The U.S. were to seriously start going after Israeli spies in the United States, this would be a full-time job for many more people than the FBI has.
Yeah, they're going to investigate all of Congress.
You can see
And sure, so they don't want this ball to start rolling. Plus, of course, there's the whole issue of if the American public really knew the extent to which Israel spies inside the United States on U.S. National security secrets.
And this is why I need you to spread the word of my channel. I am shadow banned. Without a doubt, I am shadow banned for even saying the word Israel on YouTube. And I can't say any of my content on TikTok. That's nothing. All I can do is put up feminism videos there now. It's getting bad. If y'all don't spread the word, it's going to stay like this.
They would be appalled. So we're not allowed to talk about this. The last time the FBI issued a statement was, I believe, in the 1990s, where they said that Israel, among all of the friendly countries that the United States has to deal with, spies on the U.S. more than any other. And of course, there was no follow-up on that, and there's been no follow-up on that ever since.
God. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, our guest, Phil Giraldi, will explain why Alexandrovich's role inside Israel's top cyber operations makes this case even more.
All right, I'm gonna cut this one here. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update and put a little bit of the good word in y'all's ear. I will be back Monday, and let me get some music on here so it doesn't sound so weird. Let's go. So I will see y'all Wednesday. Let me let the dog take me out again. He loves that. Come on by, Ozzy. Oh, wake up. He's asleep. I'll see you on Monday. Peace.